You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you.
I don't think it is very useful to speculate on what God might or might not be able to do. Rather, we should examine what he actually does with the universe we live in.
We are all explorers, driven to know what's over the horizon. The most profound discoveries are not necessarily beyond that next star. They're within us, woven into the threads that bind us.
Hello, beautiful people. Happy Monday. Happy Moon Day. Welcome to a new week and welcome to the last week of Cancer season. And so let's celebrate some Cancers today. Nelson Mandela celebrates a solar return. Priyanka Chopra has a birthday today. Vin Diesel is a Cancer. Again, with this notion that Cancers are all nurturing and soft and ooey gooey, then we have people like Vin Diesel, Mike Tyson, who are also Cancers with that tough outer crab shell. Let's see, Elsa Palacki, Kristen Bell has a birthday today, MIA, Paper Planes, the singer. Lots of notable Cancers, Wendy Williams, Chase Crawford, the list goes on. James Brolin, Hunter S. Thompson, Richard Branson, wow, Elizabeth McGowan. It's a long list today. And if you are a Cancer, if you know someone who is a Cancer, let us know in the comments so we can celebrate them before Cancer season is over. Hi, Kayla. Happy Monday. Good morning, Rose. This weekend was full of new perspectives through the people around me and a lot of mirroring back and triggering. That's kind of the energy we're actually going to be talking about today. But it makes sense that it started coming up this weekend. It was an emotional weekend. I don't know about you, but it was super emotional in a lot of different ways. We had so much water energy this weekend with the moon in Pisces, and then we had the sun and Mercury conjunct in Cancer, harmonizing with Neptune and Pisces on Sunday. It was just a lot of emotion. So if you were feeling that, I was right there with you. Hi, Alex. Hey, Rachel. Hello, Maribel. So today we're going to just walk through the energy, what we're experiencing right now. And at the end of this forecast, I'm also going to quickly walk through the major transits coming up this week, because even though it's the last week of Cancer season, it's certainly packing a punch. We have a lot going on. And Venus is now in Cancer too, as of yesterday. We talked about this on Friday. So we're still very much feeling the Cancer energy, even though we're coming into the end of this season. So let's talk about what's going on today. Yeah, I was at a leadership conference and cried. Almost every speaker. All of the waterworks, right? All the water energy. I feel you. Tried my best to make it a cool social and family weekend, and although we did get together, everyone was in their own feelings and it showed on all of our faces. Emotions can be difficult to navigate, but it's part of what makes us human, right? Thank you. I know, with this spaghetti strap too, if I lean the wrong way, it kind of looks like I'm naked, you guys. Just realized that. Thank you, thank you. Keep manifesting my hair getting longer. Even physically, the water energy this weekend. Oh, wow, a lot of flooding on the Hawaiian Islands. That is wild. Hello from Orlando, people from all over, from one coast to the other, from the middle of the ocean. As Rose was saying, she's in Hawaii. All right, let's talk about today. So, of course, the sun is in Cancer. The moon is now in Aries. The moon moved into Aries, I believe, about 4 a.m. Let me double check that so I'm not giving you false information. Yes, 4 this morning Pacific time. So, Aries, the first sign of the zodiac, we're starting to pick up energy a little bit more, pick up momentum a little bit more when it comes to our emotions. So a little less water energy, which is nice. It sounds like we were all in our feelings. But this is really the transit that is our headline today. Mercury is opposing Pluto. And this transit was actually exact at midnight last night. So those of you who were saying there were some revelations, some deep things revealed, maybe some intense conversations had this weekend, you might have been feeling the beginning of these transits, especially if, like me, you are ruled by Mercury. You might have been more sensitive to this opposition. And it wasn't until I started planning for the week ahead and putting the forecast together yesterday that I realized, oh, this is what I'm feeling, or part of what I'm feeling, along with all the water energy. So that's always, I don't know if the fun is the right word, but it's an interesting confirmation. Lots of feelings for you too, Diane. Yeah, all of us just in our feels. So here's a look at the current chart. You can see Mercury over here at 28 degrees in Cancer, opposing Pluto at 27 degrees in Capricorn. Now, before we talk about what this means exactly, I want to point out that Mercury moves very quickly, goes through about 2 degrees a day. So Mercury's moving into Leo tomorrow, and I'll cover that at the end of this, just giving you a rundown of what's coming up. But today, Mercury will be at the anaretic degree, the final degree. So fair warning, we might all be a little bit quicker to speak. We might be a little bit more reactive to words or triggered by words. Just when any planet is at the final degree, we're like restless. So it just, by the end of the day, we might feel really restless with our words. But what does it mean when Mercury opposes Pluto? Well, let me tell you. Basically, whenever we have an opposition, it's like a push-pull energy. So it's kind of a make or break transit. We're seeing things clearly. It's like if Mercury is our mind, Pluto rules the subconscious, what's deep within. We can clearly see what lies beneath. That's a good way of putting it. But that can be really triggering. And especially when we're in conversation with other people, it can cause power struggles or battles. Because Pluto likes control, it likes manipulation, it likes to really go deep, right? But there is a positive aspect of this transit as well, where we're able to clearly see things and we have these deep realizations. So beware of battling it out. Your mental state is definitely affected by this. Also, when I was really diving into this transit, because it's the first time I've forecasted for this transit since I started this show, a lot of the Planets in Transit by Robert Hand talks about propaganda, manipulation tactics. So there could be things revealed in the collective today as well, especially because Pluto is retrograde. There's this element of review. So don't be surprised if information comes to light today that shows us some deep-seated beliefs within our system, especially with Pluto and Capricorn ruling our government, ruling authority. But also it could feel like we understand the inner workings a little bit, like, oh, this is who is in control. This is what's happening. So that's possible on a collective level, but on a personal level, just watch for trying to be too controlling or manipulative, especially with your words. Any attempts to be controlled could also be revealed. If somebody else is trying to control or manipulate you, that could come up today. And especially with Mercury in Cancer, dialogue is emotional, right? Mercury ruling our words, our thoughts, and Cancer being such an emotional sign. When our emotions are infused into our words, that can be used as a manipulation tactic as well. And sometimes we end up doing that without even realizing it. So this is a day to really focus on yourself, focus on your own intentions, maybe go within. That might be the most productive use of this transit, understanding yourself better. It's a positive transit for deep research, getting to the bottom of things, getting to the bottom of your own hidden agenda, maybe in your subconscious that you don't even realize. And one final byproduct of this transit is obsession. So anytime Pluto's involved, there's an element of obsession or compulsion. And Mercury, again, ruling our mental state, you might get fixated on an idea today and just want to focus on that one idea. So it's an intense transit for sure. It can bring deep revelations, which is nice. Coming off of the emotional weekend we all had, though, it sounds like we might just want to do some reflecting on ourselves instead of trying to go back into emotional conversations. I love this. A lot of poetry was coming to me smoothly last night while sitting in the tub. So that was a nice creative flow. I love when that happens. That's beautiful. And you know, that could be a great way to use this energy as well. When we have Mercury in a water sign, creativity and emotions can be infused into our words. So that's a really beautiful reflection. Thank you. We were on our way back from the beach late evening yesterday, and my friend started to blurt out things about her private life, and she got a little careless, so it triggered me. That is a perfect example of this transit today, seriously. Like, especially with Mercury coming into the final degree of Cancer, we're like, this is how I'm feeling, you know, like, let me tell you how I'm feeling. And that can be triggering to other people. It can even be triggering to ourselves. And there's that element of compulsion there, right? Like, we just need to do it now, especially with Mercury at that final degree. So thank you for sharing that example. That is a great way of putting how this could play out. And you were probably feeling this transit because remember, it was exact at midnight last night. We're still feeling it today for sure. Let's talk about the Aries moon. You know, Aries energy, we're ready to go. We're ready to start things. We're ready to start shit also, so beware when we're talking about compulsion and blurting things out. The Aries moon kind of adds some heat to that fire. But as we're coming into the moon's most potent releasing phase later this week, on Wednesday is when we have the last quarter moon, we're being introspective. So again, coming back into yourself, doing some reflection is really powerful today. But also, anytime the moon's in Aries, I always say, sweat it out, move your body, release through movement. Aries favors action. So move your body. That's like the easiest way to lean into the releasing of this moon phase. Let your body guide you as well. Like, really listen to any agitation or restlessness. Dance it out, move it out, do some jumping jacks, whatever feels good for you. Hit the gym. And also remember, Aries is tied with aggression. So as we're talking about controlling manipulation, conversations that might be really intense, remember we're quick to anger too, and just to slow things down if it's getting too heated, right? The moon makes two major connections today, and the first one happened this morning. So this is kind of what we're feeling right now. It happened at 0 degrees. The moon squared off to Venus, because remember, Venus just moved into Cancer yesterday, last night, about 6 p.m., and right when the moon moved into Aries, it squared off to Venus. So this was about 5 a.m. Pacific time this morning. You might have woken up being like, I need something tasty to eat this morning, or just having this intense craving for love, for affection. Anytime the moon squares Venus, we just really want to feel pleasure in whatever way is most convenient at that point. Like, we want it right now. And especially with Venus now in Cancer, I could see this really craving physical comfort. Like, I just want a big hug. I just want physical affection. I want to feel nurtured. And sometimes when we're not getting what we want is when we go back into that controlling manipulation, being intense. So you see how all the transits are kind of coming together this morning, and I can already tell by everything everybody's saying in the comments, we're feeling it. We're definitely feeling it. So remember, if you're feeling extra needy this morning, you can give yourself the love you need. You don't have to look outside of yourself. And, you know, that intense need can be a signal. What is not being fulfilled within me? Going back to the opposition between Mercury and Pluto, going within, understanding ourselves on a deeper, more subconscious level, rather than projecting it onto other people and being like, give me what I need, and trying to control. That's definitely a byproduct. I have Jupiter on the 27th degree of Aries in my 4th house. Quick to argue for justice of the collective. That makes sense. Jupiter in Aries. Well, your Jupiter return is coming though, Kayla, which is nice. Probably next year you'll have your Jupiter return, and that could be especially abundant for you. All right, the final transit today won't happen until later tonight, and it's much different than everything we've been talking about, much more positive. So if you're like, oh my goodness, this forecast is a lot, I got you. The moon meets up with Jupiter, speaking of Jupiter, in Aries around 7 p.m. Pacific time. So once the moon hits that 8-degree mark, it'll be nice and intimate with Jupiter in Aries. Jupiter's the planet of abundance, optimism. It helps us see silver linings. We can expect by the end of the day, especially as Mercury is pulling away from that opposition to Pluto and, things are settling, we can expect to feel better. We can expect to feel good vibes when the moon and Jupiter are together in Aries. Yeah, we might still be quick to action and movement. I could see this giving us an abundance of energy, especially with Jupiter in Aries, the sign most associated with energy, movement, action. So don't be surprised if you get a late night burst of energy tonight. Like, okay, I've been reflecting all day, or whatever your day looks like, and I just want to keep going or keep doing. It might come as a late night burst of energy, but emotionally, we can easily see the positive. We might even feel inclined to move late tonight. We're like, okay, we're really ready to release this, move it out. And as we're releasing, as we are more aware of our energy levels, we're also ready to move forward. So, it's like we can see the future, we can see the positive, we can see the potential, and we know what we need to release and let go of, and we can easily do that when the moon and Jupiter meet up, which is a great way to end the day. Also happening in the background, the sun is pulling away from that trine to Neptune that we really felt yesterday. So you can see the sun and Neptune still making somewhat of a connection, which is heightening our intuition, heightening our imagination and our creativity as well. If you've been feeling creative, or maybe you had some ideas come through, you might be able to put them into motion, especially with the moon in Aries. Take action on them today. Also, we'll be talking about this for the next week or so, but the North Node and Uranus are still conjunct in Taurus, still coming into that conjunction. So any changes now, and they might not be abrupt, especially with this happening in Taurus, it's probably a slower change that's playing out, but the changes happening over the next few weeks are here to push us collectively in the direction we're all meant to go, and personally into the energy we're meant to embody. So those are our major transits today. Let's see. I spent the weekend processing, trying to work on myself. I start therapy today. What a great day to start therapy with Mercury opposing Pluto. Let me just say, what a transit. Like, that is, again, just so aligned. There you go. Can be beneficial. Absolutely. Absolutely. And our affirmation of the day today: movement is my medicine. If you're feeling triggered, if you're feeling anxious, I promise you, if you just take 2 minutes, and even if it's like screaming into a pillow, like that's moving energy, even if it's just like whatever, shaking it out. Move when you feel tension today. It will really help you, I promise. It will help clear any stagnancy, especially with all the emotions that came up over the weekend. Move them out of your body today. Definitely favored. And now let's go ahead and pull a tarot card before we talk about what's coming up this week. I still haven't unpacked all my tarot cards from the event I hosted this weekend, so we're pulling from this funky deck, the Irreverent Inspiration deck. If you haven't seen me pull from this deck before, I always give the warning. They have really weird cards, and that's kind of the point of the deck. Some of them are a little bit raunchy though, so if you have kids around, maybe don't. I will manifest us pulling a card that's not inappropriate. Here's the website. This deck was gifted to me, and they're just trying to get the word out about this project. So I always share it with you guys if you are drawn to this very unconventional deck. Lots of residual tension from the weekend. Yeah, you and me both, Diane. I'm going to be moving it out today. Just releasing. And it's not a one-time thing, you know? Sometimes it comes in waves. The tension comes up, you got to move it out. The emotions come up, we got to flow with them, right? Inappropriate is okay. I just, if there are any kiddos around. So as I'm shuffling, this is your time. Ask any final questions. Let me know what you're going to do with the energy today, what plans you have, if you're excited for this last week of Cancer season, if you're looking forward to Leo season, which starts on Friday. Might be a nice break from all of the heavy emotions when Leo season starts. We can be a little bit more just bubbly, external, fun during Leo season. Okay, let's take a deep breath together. What do we need to know? Just Die is the card we got. I told you these cards are weird, but sometimes the descriptions surprise me and they're more positive than I think they're going to be. So let's see what message wanted to come through with the Just Die card. How differently would you live your life if you weren't walking around with the chip of death on your shoulder? Are you living based on the idea that you'll never die, or on the uncertainty of death's timing? Or waiting to die to get out of this, whatever this is? Just get through? Are you dying to live or living to die? What if you could choose to live? Try it. Literally right now. Go ahead. Choose to live. What needs to die within you for you to start living? Kill it. See? The cards actually do redeem themselves most of the time. And actually, this really makes me think of the opposition between Mercury and Pluto. Pluto is the planet of death and rebirth. So we're having these conscious realizations today of what needs to die. What are we needing to release under this releasing moon? What do we need to let go of? And I love how it says, try it, literally right now. Go ahead, choose to live. As we're talking about movement being our medicine today, what better way to remind us that we're alive than to move our energy, than to tap into our energy. So as much as that deck kind of scares me, especially as a Virgo, that was a really spot on card, right? Even though it was weird, just let it go. Yeah, the meaning was there, definitely. Oh, your dad is a Leo. Oh, Alex is a Leo. You're coming into your season, my friend. They do redeem themselves. I'm sure some of you guys saw me, like one time I pulled the card and it was talking about a certain appendage that I won't say in case any children are watching. Sometimes it's like very shocking, but I think that's kind of the point of this deck, to shock you a little bit. Like it's supposed to be kind of a slap in the face and really make you think in a weird way. So yes, Leo season. We're already like trying to get into that Leo energy. We got to get through this last week of Cancer season first though, right? Yeah, and I think that's the point too, Rachel. It does make us laugh. And the creator, when she messaged me and offered to send me this deck, I think part of their motivation, and I don't want to speak for them, but I put the website in the comments if you want to check it out. I think part of their motivation was to make a less serious oracle deck. So many oracle decks are so like spiritual and serious, which we love. We're here for that. But sometimes it's nice to have a little laugh, a little funny when we're getting our guidance, right? We need this. We need this. I was having a conversation with my cousin just last week about doing a cord cutting to free yourself of things that no longer serve, thinking how this connects back to that. Absolutely. Cord cutting would definitely be favored under this opposition between Mercury and Pluto. What do we consciously need to cut ourselves off from maybe thinking about? But whatever it is, whatever you need to release, this card is confirmation to just cut it off. Do it. Let it die. Connects to some of the emotions that came up for me last night. Yeah, all ties together. It all makes sense. No matter the transitions or the energy of the day, we have the free will to lean into love and kindness. Thank you for that reminder. Every new minute is a chance to do better. Yeah. And I always say, we are using the transits as guidance, but we are not defined by them. It's nice to be able to be like, oh my gosh, why is this all coming up? Okay, this is what's going on with the planets. I'm not going crazy, but we always have the option in every moment to choose love, to choose awareness, which is love in my opinion, and to give ourselves grace. And I think, one of my good friends does a word of the week on her Instagram, and I immediately said grace today. Grace is my word of the week. Giving myself grace, giving other people grace, especially after the emotions that came up for a lot of us over the weekend. Every new minute is a chance to do better. I love that so much. Okay, let me walk you through really quickly what's coming up for the week ahead. And I don't have any fancy graphics today, but I just want to prepare you because we've got a lot of movement happening. So let me pull it up here, and it's just going to be a really quick rundown. Of course, we already talked about today, Mercury opposing Pluto. Tomorrow, Mercury enters Leo. So I know I already said this, but for anybody just tuning in, we'll end the day with Mercury at the anaretic degree. Beware of blurting things out or being restless. Your mind could feel especially restless today. Chiron also stations retrograde tomorrow. So a lot of the things that came up that need to be healed, we could start to review those things over the next few months. And the sun is going to oppose Pluto tomorrow. So as Mercury opposes Pluto today, the sun comes into that same opposition tomorrow. And I could see today being a day where we're having intense conversations, really powerful and profound realizations. And then when the sun opposes Pluto tomorrow, it's like we're able to integrate those things consciously and kind of be those realizations, if that makes sense. Still, power struggles are possible, I will say. On Wednesday, we had the last quarter moon in Taurus, this peak releasing phase. Mars is also forming a sextile to Lilith on Wednesday, so taking powerful action will be aligned. And powerful action could be that big release that comes with the last quarter moon. And I see the last quarter moon in Taurus really asking us, what do we need to let go of in our physical environment or in our physical body? So that's Wednesday. On Thursday, the moon meets up with Mars. I see a lot more action as the week goes on, especially with the moon meeting up with Mars in Taurus. It's like, might be a little agitated, but really taking physical action by the end of the week. The moon and Mars are going to allow our energy and our emotions to align and allow us to move forward. And then Friday, Leo season begins. So all our Leos can rejoice. We're all feeling a little more playful, fun as Leo season gets going, really feeling the heat of the sun as Leo is ruled by the sun. And Leo allows us to tap into our heart space too. So, Cancer season has been emotional for a lot of us, brought up a lot of those emotions. Maybe even, something I feel called to say when we're talking about today's opposition between Mercury and Pluto. And something that really came up for me this weekend was the feeling of safety. What does safety feel like to me? What makes me feel safe? And that might be something you're coming into terms with or realizations with over the next couple days as Pluto in Capricorn, the sign of the father, opposes the sun, and Mercury in Cancer, the sign of the mother. Both of these signs ruling safety and security in one way or another. A lot of the realizations that are coming up could have to do with our own feelings of safety or how we make other people feel safe. Just kind of a backtrack there, but I wanted to include that. And then on Saturday, Mercury will harmonize with Jupiter. We can expect positive words, positive thoughts on Saturday next weekend. And this will be happening in fire signs too. So it could be like really quick ideas coming through or things that we want to move on that feel really exciting. Sunday, Venus squares Jupiter. I could see Sunday being a day where we really are like, we want to feel good. We're going to reach for pleasure. We might be a little overboard with our indulgences on Sunday. Of course, we'll talk about all these things as the week goes on, but I just like to give you guys a little preview of the energy coming. So, we're coming into the peak releasing phase. A lot's coming up for us at the beginning of the week, even this weekend. This started. And by the end of the week, things feel a little bit more abundant, a little bit more optimistic, light, playful as Leo season begins. All right, everyone. I think that's going to do it for me today. What are you all saying in the comments? Your Mercury is in Leo at 28 degrees in the 12th house. What does a Mercury return bring? That's a great question, Rachel. I have to reflect on that. What does a Mercury return bring? You'll probably feel very comfortable in your own mental state. And maybe just, when your Mercury is at the same point, or when Mercury is at the same point as your Mercury, especially, I think you're ruled by Mercury too. If I remember correctly, you can tell me if I'm wrong. You'll probably just feel like yourself, like, oh, okay, I'm back in my mental state. I'm back in what feels comfortable for me. And it could bring some realizations too. Mercury return. Anytime there's a return, I just see this being as a moment of awareness. And your Mercury and Leo, you might feel especially like outgoing and ready to speak up too during your Mercury return. Still celebrating Leo season. I love it. All right, everybody, that is going to do it for this episode of Transits Today. We have some fun things coming up this week. Tomorrow, we have a new episode of The Spiritual Journalist, and I am so looking forward to it. Nikki Vasconez is a pet psychic, and she is talking with us all about animal communication. So, how she communicates with animals, how she came into this gift of hers. She actually used to be a lawyer and quit her job and now is a full-time pet psychic. So if you have pets, if you are as obsessed with your pets as I am with my dogs, this is an episode you don't want to miss. It'll be live at 11:11 tomorrow morning, right here wherever you're watching, YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, or you can always find the episode wherever you listen to podcasts or later on my YouTube channel. Thank you for being here, Alex. Always a pleasure to see you in the comments as well. I hope your week is off to a great start, everybody. I hope that you are giving yourself grace today, moving your body today. As Court always says, moving your meat suit. If you feel any tension, get it out of your body. Give yourself the grace to release it. And know that everything coming up right now, all the changes that are happening are here for a reason, and they're pushing us towards our purpose. So there are no coincidences. Just give yourself grace as you move through any intensity. Yes, meat suit time. Love coming into the Aries moon and talking about moving our meat suit. Thanks for being here, Diane. Yes, Virgo rising. Oh, so your Mercury return, you're going to be feeling yourself, Rachel. You are going to be feeling yourself. Thanks, Maribel. Love the move the meat suit phrase, and I love ending on a positive, fun, happy note today. And remember, sometimes giving yourself grace is just giving yourself a little bit of a laugh, and laughing is a really great way to release and move energy as well. So if you're feeling intensity, that can be a great medicine too. I love you all. Thank you for showing up for yourselves today. Thank you for showing up for this beautiful community we're creating together every day. I hope you have a beautiful week ahead of you, and I will see you right back here tomorrow morning. But until then, stay curious. Thank you so much for joining us and aligning with the energy of the universe today. If you enjoyed this morning's episode of Transits Today, you can join our live astrology discussion every weekday morning right here wherever you're watching. And head to thespiritualjournalist.com to read your daily astrology forecast and browse the Spiritual Shop. The most fun way to help keep these forecasts free and support more content like this is to buy yourself a little something on our website. But if you're feeling extra generous, you can also buy me a coffee to fuel future live streams. Just tap the link in the description or head to buymeacoffee.com and search The Spiritual Journalist. And speaking of, you can also tune in to The Spiritual Journalist, our weekly live interview where we ask our guests questions about everything from crystals and manifestation to mental health and the environment. Those conversations stream live right here wherever you're watching now every Tuesday. I'm so grateful you found us here, and I can't wait for our next conversation.